On this episode of Latinas, we celebrate Pride Month, sit down with one of the co-stars of In the Heights, meet the man behind viral sensation Tita, and so much more. Latinas starts now. Welcome to Latinas, the show that's all about nuestras mujeres in the Latinx community. I'm Tina Beth Pina. Today is a beautiful day in Queens, which just happens to be the most ethnically diverse urban area in the world, and is also the perfect backdrop for our first story. Tap dancers are uniquely positioned to understand the struggles of African Americans in this country, and Ayodeli Casel's Latin-infused brand of tap is no exception. She has made it her mission to remind audiences that tap is deeply rooted in African American art and culture. And she's also making a positive social impact on young women of color at the same time. Let's take a look.
I am everything that I am as an artist because of everything that I am as a Black and Puerto Rican woman.
Ayodeli Casel is one of the world's top tap dancers who infuses her Black and Latina background into her art.
I remember when I started to develop my artistry, the interest was, how do I find a way to express that part of myself and share that with people? And so my very first solo show, I had a 10-piece Latin band. Like to have jazz, which is obviously the foundation of tap dancing, and to have Latin music, which is like my own foundation, and put those things together, it literally explodes into joy and awesomeness.
The awesomeness of tap is something that Ayodeli does not take for granted.
When I understood that the art form was rooted in my ancestors and that we, created a beautiful, sophisticated way of moving and making sound with our bodies. It was born out of oppression, out of slave masters outlawing drums for Black people. And out of that oppression, out of that repression, out of that silencing of, comes this way of making sound with your feet. The important thing about the art form that I have come to recognize over the time is how tap dancing just lives at the intersection of art and social justice, art and racism, art and sexism, art and the history of this country.
Ayodeli has now taken it upon herself to not only teach tap and its origins to others, but she's also using her experience as a multicultural woman to mentor young women of color at the Broader Way Foundation.
Ayodeli, do you only mentor dancers?
The crazy thing is these girls, they're not even dancers. These young women are just young people who have varying interests. And my entry point to them is being a Latina, being a tap dancer, being, being a woman, right? But they're not even pursuing arts in the way that I am. And it doesn't even matter, because what I'm trying to infuse in them is confidence for them to do whatever it is that they want to do.
I want to study epidemiology. I want to work at the CDC. And mind you, it's already dominated by men. And so it's definitely something that always inspires me that my name could be out there. Like how Ayodeli is putting her name out there, I can do the same.
I'm so blessed to have Ayodeli, someone like Ayodeli in my life. She really opened a lot of doors for me. I live in the projects. I live in East Harlem. My dreams are very, very limited in a way, but all these things that she's done for me showed me the potential that I could have and that I do have.
She's like a cool aunt or, like a friend. And I know she's always in my corner, which is, an amazing feeling because I've always looked up to her and she's given us so many amazing opportunities.
I am magnanimous. I am Michaela.
One of those opportunities was performing on stage with Ayodeli at the Joyce Theater.
That was super amazing. I never got to perform in front of a big crowd, especially professionally. When I would read my piece or my friends would read their piece, you would have people in the crowd cheering you on saying, yes, yes, and that was something that I really liked.
It's one of the most unforgettable moments that I've ever had because it was me reading my own work in front of a really big crowd. It definitely gave me a voice and one that I didn't think that I had.
The voice and the confidence that Ayodele has given these young women is truly admirable and does not go unappreciated.
How grateful are you for Ayodele's support?
Words cannot explain how grateful, like, I don't want to get emotional because, like, ooh, but even my mom, she's like, wow, like, she's like, Ayodele's like amazing. She knows that Ayodele pushes me to achieve more. I really wouldn't be who I am without her.
Clearly, Ayodele Cassell's impact is not just about entertaining an audience on stage. She has also empowered these young women with an undeniable rhythm of confidence and determination that will dance within them for years to come.
I want them to understand that their identity is their superpower, right? That who they are, that the languages that they speak, that the cultures, the foods that they know, that is their superpower. That is what's going to continue to connect them to more and more and more and more people as they get older. And they're going to change the world in their own ways. And I'm really excited about that.
It was only 6 years ago that the U.S. Supreme Court made same-sex marriages legal in the United States. Now, the LGBTQ community is no longer excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. In celebration of Pride Month, here's the story of Marina and Patricia, one of the first Latina gay couples to marry in New York.
Aplauda. No, tú también una dos. So we got married back in 2008. At the time it wasn't legal in New York, so we went to Boston. It was very easy. And actually, I mean, for me to get married, I was excited because it was something transgressional, but by doing something very extremely conservative, right?
Perhaps we were one of the first New York couples who got married because we didn't wait for New York law to pass. And I wanted a party.
I was going to pottery classes at the time, so I decided to make clay a ring, and I painted it with gold, and so I gave it to her. Of course, she was never able to use it because it was gonna break.
And it was in Spain, in Ronda.
Yeah, so we actually went on this beautiful trip to Spain, to the south of Spain, a part that I really love.
And marrying Marina, I didn't know all the consequences we'll have later. I was very happy to, through the marriage, she got a green card and she got her citizenship.
And also, I was able to put you on my health insurance.
That's right.
So that was also something like really nice.
And we didn't think about it in the beginning. We just thought we got married because we wanted to be counted. We wanted to show everybody that this is just as normal as any other love.
We started the ceremony and I was like, whoa, I was so emotional. And I realized that I was holding a lot inside of me. And you decide to get married or not, but the fact of having the choice, I think it's really key.
I always was openly gay, and since I can't ever think. When I moved to New York, also because I wanted to be living a more, you can just say, easier life, or with more freedom to be comfortable, or just to see more people like me just walking in the street.
I was not always open at work. Some sections were a little conservative, so I wouldn't just not deny it. I never deny it, but I would not be open to everyone. But now, I mean, that doesn't happen, and I don't know if it's marriage or not. Also the other thing is that after I got married, I always make a point to say my wife. And it's really interesting because some people find it a little difficult actually to use the word wife. And when they ask me, they say your friend or your partner, and I'm like, no, it's not my partner, it's my wife. Mm-hmm. And some people will even correct me and say, you mean your husband? And I'm like, no, my wife.
LGBTQ community is still discriminated. Mostly men, or again, they have sometimes funny comments, but not anymore.
But the beauty again is that difference, that we are all different, that we all have things in common too. So it's about being truthful again and being proud of who you are.
In celebration of Pride Month, here are some Latinas who provide support for the Latinx transgender community.
Menopause. We've all heard about it, but what do we really know about it? Ask any woman going through it, and they'll say something like, "No one told me it would be like this." Coming up are 3 Latinas who are about to tell you what their mommies didn't tell them about menopause on today's Caliente Caliente.
Menopause is more complicated than menstrual cycle. Maybe it's not, maybe we're getting more information. But like from what I remember, when you got your period, okay, you got your period, you use a pad, sometimes it lasts 3 days, some people it's 7, some it's light, some it's heavy, some it's cramped, some it's not. But it's the same 5 or 6 symptoms that everybody has and talks about. And I think with menopause, it's much broader. It's so many more different symptoms that last so many more years. And now they talk about perimenopause. So you start getting, different things even before you become menopausal. And there still is the taboo across all levels, So who do I talk about it with? My primas? That's it, right? And or I do research on the internet.
For me, I didn't get anything. It wasn't talked about. I knew it was gonna happen. I didn't know when. I didn't know how. And but because my mom went through it and I was there, I saw what it looked like. I did not want it.
I feel very privileged because my mother was always very open about just the overall process of the menstrual cycle. And she was always very forthcoming because she did not like the fact that her mother, my grandmother, who lived with us, didn't speak about the subject.
My mother had very little symptoms. And you know how they say that your menstrual cycle and your menopause is similar to your mother's. And so she didn't think it was a big deal and probably just, oh, you'll be fine. It's nothing. Then I ended up having a surgical menopause. I had to have surgery and a hysterectomy and for some cysts I had in my ovaries. And that was more shocking than even the normal stages of menopause because it happens suddenly. And obviously the older male physicians don't prepare you for what's going to happen, from a loss of libido to a total, even acute depression. And even as a doctor, I had patients that were just so affected by the hot flashes and not being able to sleep.
I had a hysterectomy as well. I was 36. And for me, it took a while to get there, but the symptoms, they just last longer. Oh my God. And by the time I hit 38, the mind fog was so bad. I had an issue understanding language.
But that's the thing, that it's so different for every woman and for so many people. And so, you may be talking about a bunch of symptoms that I've never felt, or I may be talking about a bunch that you've never felt. And that's why sharing them and with all different levels of life, right? When you're in your 40s and perimenopause and 50s and 60s, because otherwise you think, wait a minute, I didn't have that.
For me, I've noticed how my metabolism has slowed, right? So even if I don't eat sugar, even if I don't eat gluten, even if I don't, I find myself having a really difficult time with my own body, right? How it's just slowed down. I think I judge myself more, right? Because, oh my God, ahora estoy vieja. ¿Qué va a pasar con mi vida?
No, never that. I never really thought about it that, like, I never saw myself as being vieja o seca. I'm 48 now. I'm living total freedom now.
I think it's been a very, very internal journey of accepting. It's okay that I'm changing, that I'm aging. I'm still feminine. I'm still full of desire, full of passion, full of life, it's just in a different pace.
Have you met Tita yet? The no-nonsense South Bronx cartera and hoop-wearing Nuyorican animated character whose series has gone viral on YouTube? If not, Get ready to meet her and the man who created her. Elena Romero has that story.
Okay, so once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived together in a house of their own.
Episode 3 of Tita went viral 1 year ago, and audiences can't seem to get enough of Tita. The no-nonsense 62-year-old married animated Nuyorican created by the self-described red-headed Puerto Rican with freckles, actor-comedian Victor Cruz.
When I think back, I think I knew Tita since I was a kid. I just never knew I was going to create her later. Tita was a voice that I did for a long time. I would call and prank my friends. I would call Ricky's and then be like, Mira, do you have a costume para la nena? Because right now she wants to be SpongeBob, pero none of those clothes have her size. During pandemic, I played around with the idea of animating her. And so I kind of did some research, looked around, and then I found this amazing animator who could help me. So now in my 40s, I was living my childhood dream. And that's sort of the beginnings of Tita.
Cruz says Tita reminds him of a lot of women he knows.
Ay, mira, there goes my chancleta.
Tita is a lot of women in my community growing up. Tita was the woman that if you did something wrong in the neighborhood, she was telling your mom. She was just a woman that I knew and that I know.
How did you go about deciding what Tita would look like?
I looked at pictures of people that I love. I looked at just different body types and then memories of women that I knew and buildings that I lived in growing up in the South Bronx. I know that she's always going to have her cartera and her little purse, and you know she'll always have it, even if she's wearing her bata, getting ready to go to bed. She'd have her cartera. So it was little nuances like that that helped me kind of design her.
With familiar dichos like fíjate, presenta, and okay, Tita is everybody's favorite vecina. Living on an imaginative side street of 142nd Street near Brook Avenue in Mont Haven, Tita, who hails from Ponce, Puerto Rico, went to St. Pius Catholic School and currently volunteers at a local hospital while working part-time as a school aide.
If you could give consejo to our Latina viewers, what would you want them to know?
Nena, this is your time, okay? You know, you've been helping so many people in your community. You've been serving, helping your family. But you can't forget about yourself. You got dreams. You got, aspirations and things that you want to do. So give yourself a chance. Take a moment to sit down with a little cup of coffee, un cafecito, and just think to yourself, ay, what do I want to do? And mira, nena, go out there and do it.
For Latinas, I'm Elena Romero.
In celebration of Pride Month, here are more Latinas supporting the transgender community.
One of the most anticipated movies of the year, In the Heights, is finally in theaters with Olga Merediz as the unforgettable Abuela Claudia. The Cuban-American actress is reprising her Tony-nominated role in the film and shares with us her journey as a Latina actress.
Ugh, it smells like you're cooking Bambi, Mom.
I'm making you a steak, mijo.
Mom, I'm practicing veganism.
I thought you had a girlfriend. Vegan doesn't mean gay, Mom. Mijo, posture. I came from Cuba. I didn't study to be an actress. I was not going to be an actress. I don't think my family wanted me to be an actress, but I kept doing it on the side. I was driving people, friends, to New York to audition. And then I said, why don't I audition? And so I decided to audition, and it just happened very quickly, and I've been very lucky. So should we meet the kids?
Sure, yeah. 30 minutes.
You know, that's insane.
Just get it done.
Finally, the boy has found his guts, Well, I have played many different roles. I've played the subservient, like I've played many maids. But I'm thinking, I have a cleaning lady and she's terrific. But as a Latina, I would like to play more diverse and powerful women and any kind.
The House doesn't vote until January 6th.
If you can resolve this Iran issue peacefully before then, we'll switch to Dalton. Sometimes as an actor, you have to decide, do I want to work? Or, is there something, is there a quality in this woman? Is there a message or something that you want to do this role? And so you do the role.
Why? Because she's gonna hit me.
I didn't love you. I didn't. And after all these years, I finally felt like we were starting to get along. But all this finger pointing, you have to admit, is a big turnoff. I started out in theater, and that was my home. And you have some incredible highs on stage when you're in that zone and you feel like the audience is with you. They gave me the opportunity to switch roles and do the abuela, the grandmother. Again, I didn't think I could do it because I thought, I don't know, I want to really be genuine. But they thought I could do it, and it worked out really well.
I am Usnavi, and you probably never heard my name.
It was all this rapping, and my ear was not used to all the rapping. I guess because, I was much older than all the kids. And now I love it.
Pan caliente, café con leche.
I had to kind of go back for the film version, and I actually had my original notes of music, so that gave me a base, and everybody can relate to her, because everybody has had an abuela, Claudia. And I'm so happy I did it, so happy to be a part of it. I feel lucky. I do help young actors. I get emails all the time. I have a friend, I have so-and-so's daughter. They want to have a coffee with you, and I try to see where they are, what they want, and what their goals are, and see if I can help them, direct them in the right way.
Little details that tell the world we are not invisible.
Natalia Dorantes is the NFL's first Latina chief of staff. The 26-year-old daughter of Mexican immigrants, who previously worked as a recruiting communications coordinator for the Texas A&M football team, is currently the Washington football team's coordinator of football operations. In this role, Dorantes works with the coaching staff and football ops. Dorantes is the first Latina and only the third woman to hold this role for the NFL. Natalia Dorantes is today's Badass Latina.
One of the positive results of the COVID-19 pandemic is that it brought families closer together as they turned to old-fashioned board games for fun during quarantine. One of the newest games to hit the market that also fosters togetherness at home was created by Liza Rivera Salta, and that's why she's today's Latina on the Rise.
I had a passion for this, and it was like, I think I need to put this out there. It brings a lot of joy to the people I know. We need a lot more laughter, joy. We need a lot more connection.
That connection is a party game Liza created called Face Factor, a virtual or in-person game where players act out different scenarios using only their facial expressions. Players then guess which scenario is being acted out.
A fun party game for people who have a face.
Think of it like charades, only you're using your face expressions and you're not making any sound or noise. So when the concept came to me, it was pretty interesting because you don't realize the nuances in your face for the slightest little difference in an emotion in a scenario that you're in. Latinas, we tend to be very enthusiastic and we express our emotions very freely and we like to have fun. So I think it's right up our alley.
Although the concept for Face Factor came to Liza during a dream that she actually remembered, making it all come to fruition wasn't easy for the first-time Puerto Rican party game creator.
When you're trying to go down a path that you've never done before and you bump up against not one, but another and another and another challenge, it's very easy to get disappointed and, you know, the wind taken out of your sails. But I have to say my family was very supportive. Family is really important to the Latin culture, especially my family. We all live near each other, so that's a blessing. So they were kind of cheering me on.
Her family's support was priceless, and in December 2020, Face Factor was launched, just as board games were seeing a huge spike in sales.
A lot of young people today, when they get together, they kind of want to put the screen away. They want to connect with people. They'll play cards, they'll play poker, they'll play whatever other box games are out there. And it translates really well online as in person. So you can be on Zoom, you can be on FaceTime, and it works just as well. Obviously, it's more fun in person, but we've had a lot of fun, and our family and our friends have had a lot of fun playing it and crafting it and getting it to where it is today.
Liza's next step is to create a Spanish language version of Face Factor and offers this advice for up-and-coming entrepreneurs.
Do not underestimate tapping into your colleagues, your contacts, your friends who have different expertise that supplement your skill set. So that helps you. For instance, when I did the game, I have a very dear friend who is really strong at graphic design work. So she helped me with the layout so that when it had to go to the factory, I didn't have to learn Adobe Illustrator. She was able to help me with that. And as Latinas, as women, we have a very strong work ethic. We all juggle a lot. I think we don't give ourselves enough permission to rest. And it's okay to rest because that's when you can refuel, recharge, and come back. You're not going to be working at a level 10 every single day.
And that's our show for today. For more information on what you just saw, check out our website at tv.cuny.edu and follow our social media profiles. We love sharing our Latina stories with you. And please make sure you tune in next month where we'll see the very best segments of the season. Wepa! Hasta la próxima. Bye-bye.
Sharing double beds, trying to catch a break, struggling with English. Listening to friends, finally got a job working as a maid. So we cleaned some homes, polishing with pride, scrubbing the whole of the Upper East Side. The days into weeks, the weeks into years, and here I stay.